It's Care Providers of Minnesota's The Inside Scoop. With your advocacy team, Toby Pearson, Nicole Matson, Todd Bergstrom, and Patty Cullen. This week's host, Patty Cullen.
Hi, I'm Patty Cullen, President and CEO of Care Providers in Minnesota. And if you remember going to school, you know how you behave when the substitute teacher was in class. I'm the substitute teacher this week for Toby Pearson, and it's committee deadline week. So I'm gonna rattle through a lot that happened this week and that's still going on. So generally, when the first committee deadline happens, it means there's a little scrambling for a few bills here or there. This year, a lot of scrambling. Dozens of bills were added to agendas because all of the bills were backed up to the revisor's office. So what's the revisor's office? Well, a legislator has an idea that someone gives to them. They submit the idea and the revisor has to put it in the format for the bill to be introduced. And so all of these bills were backed up at the revisor's office. Some were lost. So we've had a just boatload of bills and hearings this week, and I'm going to rattle through on a day-by-day basis. Monday, a bill that we have been opposing was heard and passed on out of yet one more committee. That was the House File 3405, Minnesota Nursing Home Workforce Standards Act. It is a SEIU-sponsored bill that Representative Winkler is hosting. We have testified against it in several committees. There's no Senate companion, but as you all know, nothing is over until the session is over. So that bill's still alive and kicking on the House side. Senate Finance Committee on Tuesday passed out Senate File 2786. It is a bill that includes some of the language we like relating to PACE projects. So that is a program of all-inclusive care for the elderly. We have year after year tried to promote studying and implementing PACE in Minnesota. It also has some one-time workforce grants. That bill is authored by Senator Housley. There is no Senate companion, no House companion, but you never know. On Wednesday, we sent you a grassroots message. If you need to look for it, look for Care Providers in Minnesota, Wednesday at 11:45. We need you to take some action now, today, before you enjoy the weekend. It's crappy weather out. Why not take grassroots action time? So there's a couple of things we're asking you to do this week, including signing on to a petition, using the 1 Million Seniors poster that we have, and so we're hoping that you take action. If you have any questions, feel free to email any of the advocacy team here. We will forward the information to you. On Thursday, the governor signed one of the first bills that we give a hoot about. So Chapter 40 was signed by Governor Walz. It's Senate File 2876. It was authored by Senator Abler, Representative Schultz. It does some COVID waivers. It extends COVID waivers to be able to move beds around in nursing homes. It also has some a little bit of grant authority, and it also has the extension of the state-run emergency pool. We don't necessarily like supplemental nursing agencies to charge up, but this state agency pool that goes on till June is really, it's a bridge over troubled waters is what we're calling it. It'll help you out if you need it. Thursday, Senator Abler started putting together his omnibus policy bill in the Senate. So that work is starting now. Also this week, a lot of bills were laid over for possible inclusion in omnibus bills on both the House and Senate side. Also on Thursday, House File 4036. The legislative task force was established to examine aging demographics. This came from the Board on Aging with support from the Metropolitan Area Agencies on Aging and a few other organizations trying to figure out what's the best place to lead aging policy in the state. Should it all be under a separate division, a separate department? Should it be within the Board on Aging? Should it be separated because the Board on Aging is actually under the Department of Human Services? So House File 4036 was heard and passed on. Then we also have background checks up for debate this year. So many amendments, many bills have provisions tied to the background check debacle that you're experiencing right now. We know that the new contract isn't working. We know that there are delays. We know they're never going to catch up with the hundreds of thousands of people that had emergency background checks. The question is what to do next. And so several bills were laid over for inclusion in a policy bill. There were amendments put on other bills. We believe there's going to be even more. So now we're on to today. Today's only Friday. Seems like it should be 2 weeks from now. Boatload of bills were put on today. So first of all, our bill, which is Senate File 3195, House File, whatever it is, both of those bills were, 3729. House File 3729, Senate File 3195. That's our big workforce bill. Hundreds of millions of dollars is what we're asking in this bill. It was laid over for possible inclusion. Thank you to Austin from Northridge who testified on our behalf. I testified as well. And a few questions about, it costs a lot. But other than that, the need was identified and they had no questions about whether or not this bill is needed. They had a question about the fiscal note. And so that's a later discussion with the legislative leadership. Added to this afternoon's bills. And there was also 4447, which was a state agency bill giving workforce grants, workforce opportunities for waivered service providers, all kinds of waivered service providers, not nursing facilities. So that bill 4447 again was laid over. Lots of workforce grants. Everyone knows you can't leave people without care, regardless of the setting that they live in. This afternoon is a really long hearing with a lot of state agency bills that just finally got introduced this week, including the Assisted Living Technical Amendment Bill from the Department of Health. And we've worked with them early on, and so that's in pretty good shape. We would like to amend some of our changes to it, but it's not going to happen today. There's also a brand new bill that we very much dislike. It is House File 4572 relating to change of ownership. Puts a whole bunch of restrictions on ownership changes. And so we sent a letter in opposition saying, hold the phone, Betty, because we hadn't seen this bill until this week. And there were a lot of issues. So thanks to some of our legal partners who gave us pages and pages and pages of concerns, we will be working on that bill. That is what's happened so far this week in this week's Inside Scoop.